so what we want to do in this video is a wireless setup and configuration. So we've got a TP-Link AX1800 dual-band Wi-Fi 6 router, and what we're going to do is to quickly log in into this device and get it configured. All right, so just to see what we have on this setup here. So this is a TP-Link Wi-Fi 6 router. The model is AX1800. It's a dual band device, which means that it supports both 2.4 gigahertz as well as 5 gigahertz bands, the frequency bands. Okay, so now let's look at the setup I've got here. So this guy has got a couple of ports connected to it. So starting with this is Wi-Fi 6, so you could see it here, and this down here is a reset button. So we could reset it if we've forgotten what the password is. It's also got a USB port, and this is the one, and the one port is connecting me to my ISP router. So here I've got a 5G router from MTN, so that provides me with internet access. So this is connected to the one wide area network port on the router, and it's also got a couple of LAN ports. So you could see LAN 1 here, and we have LAN 2, LAN 3, and LAN 4 on this device. This is the power button here to power this guy on, and this is the power cord where I plug this into my extension box to power it on. So it's got 4 antennas. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this antenna helps the device to broadcast RF signals. So my laptop that I'm using for this recording is connected on the LAN, and I'm going to be logging into this router from the laptop here. I'll be launching a web browser on the laptop so that I can gain access into the device. All right, so that's what we've got here, and then we want to jump in and quickly get this guy set up. So this router is from TP-Link, and the default IP address is 192.168.1.1. So the moment I use a Cat6 cable to connect my PC to the LAN 1 of this port, the DHCP server that is built into this router gives my PC an IP address. So let's get into my system and have a look. So go to the command prompt, and on the command prompt window, we are going to check what my IP address is. So basically, we type ncpa.cpl, and I'm connected to that router with a USB to LAN converter. That is this Realtek USB gigabit family controller. Double click that guy and go to properties. You could see the router has given me IP automatically on 1.0 network. So my PC is 192.168.1.209. I'll just look out for what 84 gateway is. 192.168.1.1 is given to me as a gateway, and that actually is the IP of the router. So we are going to open a web browser, and we're going to put 192.168.1.1 on our browser. So open my browser. Already I put that guy here. So let me just repeat 192.168.1.1. So put 1.1 on the browser and hit the enter key. So it's going to come up with this interface. Now the default setup of this router is that it's going to ask you to create your own admin password. So we're going to provide a password here that we're using to manage this device. And we're going to confirm the password. All right, so click on let's get started. If you like, you can save it, but it's not always a good idea, so don't save. We've got to select our time zone on this device. So you could see up here, this is AX1800 Wi-Fi 6 router from TP-Link. Language is English, so you can also change the mode. You also can exit the setup. So time zone, I'm going to look for watts. Time zone. So just go through and select the time zone for your own region. +1. Okay, so +1. Where is +1? UTC +1. So that should be fine. Go to next, and now you have to set up the wide area network port of the router, which connects you to your ISP. So what we mean is this. So here, if I pick up my pen, you could see that my WAN is the wide area network is connected to my 5G router, which is my ISP. So I've got to set up this ports on this router. And that's what the prompt here is all about. Okay, so select your internet connection type. If you are not sure, try auto detect or contact your ISP for assistance. So it's on dynamic. So why I want to leave it on dynamic is because this router here, which is my MTN 5G router, which is my ISP, has also got DSCP. So this router here is on 192.168.0.1. That's the default of this router here. And so it's also got a DHCP server in it, DHCP. And so if I put it on automatic, then it means that this one port on the TP-Link router is going to request for an IP. And my MTN 5G router is going to hand out IP to that port automatically. It's probably going to give it 192.168.0.2 since the router already is 0.1. All right. So if we do not put it on automatic, so what is going to happen is that we are going to have to put the IP ourselves. So if I put it on static, then go to next, then I have to provide the IP address, the subnet mask, the default gateway, and the DNS. So in this case, I could put 192.168.0.2. Mask will be /24, which is 255.255.255.0. The default gateway will be 0.1, which will be exactly the IP address of my MTN router. And DNS will also be my MTN router IP address. So let me go back just for sake of doing it easier. So I'm going to select dynamic IP, and all those parameters will be handed out to my TP-Link router automatically. So go to next, and here the dynamic IP will be mapped to the MAC address of my router. So this is my router's MAC 4822.54.7D01B5. Okay, so we'll go to next, and we also prompted to set up the wireless. So this is Mass Connect is enabled. Wireless radio is also enabled. What is the name you want to give to this network? So if I click on my network icon here, we're going to see a network called TP-Link _01B4, and that's basically this guy here. So I'm going to change that name to fiber train _Wi-Fi. All right. So what do we want to give as a password so that when people search for this network, instead of seeing TP-Link _01B4, they are going to see fibertrain _Wi-Fi, and they click on it to connect, they'll be asked to provide a password. So what do we put as a password? So let's put something basic, ABC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not the best of password. Just use it. Let's say we use Wi-Fi at password. So go to next, and is performing a connection test here. Testing the internet connection. It may take several seconds, so have to wait. We can also manage this wireless network through an app. So if you are using iOS or you are using Android, we could go to the respective store and get an app. You actually see QR code here that you can scan and get the app downloaded on our phone. So we could use our phone to manage this AX1800 Wi-Fi 6 router from TP-Link. So let's just wait for the test to complete, and yeah, we'll move ahead. So waiting for the text. All right, so we are done. So we can also perform a firmware update. So it says keep your router updated. Auto update allows your router to automatically update to the latest firmware. So we can turn on auto update. So it's recommended. Can say not now. So go to next. Update firmware. So can skip. Or normally you can go ahead and update the firmware. So potential network issues detected. Reconnect your device. Then click next to resolve the issue. So basically, I did mention earlier that this device supports both 2.4 as well as 5 gigahertz. So the moment you put the network name and put the wireless network name, the wireless password is going to be configured both on 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. When we are close to this device, we'll be connected to 5 gigahertz, but when we move away from the device, we'll eventually get to a point where the 5 gigahertz signal will no longer be accessed, and then we're going to default to 2.4 gigahertz signal. All right, so if you are good with the setup here, go to next, and this router is independent of my modem. We found another router on your network. This might cause double NAT issues. Choose how that router is connected. If your situation is different, choose none of the above. All right, so the router that I have in my network is basically my ISP router that connects to the wide area network port of this device. So I'm going to going to say none of the above. And we can also set up a TP-Link cloud service so that we can access this device from the cloud. I'm just going to skip this for now, and we are in. So the device is set up. This is the basic setup, and I've only got one client on the network, and this client has been given 192.168.0.164. That was done 3 minutes ago, which of course is my TP-Link router. So my TP-Link router is giving this IP automatically from my MTN 5G router, which is my ISP device, so that my TP-Link router can get access to the internet. So as the client is my laptop. So we'll click on client. You could see my laptop here, and my laptop is connected through a LAN. So the interface is a local area because I connected with a cable. My laptop has been given an IP address 192.168.1.209 from the ACA, that is the AX1800 series TP-Link router. So this is my TP-Link router, and this is my internet, which is basically the MTN 5G. All right, so that is actually the basic setup of this guy. And we could look at the CPU. Nothing really is going on. So inside this TP-Link router, I'm using 2 ports, and the rest of the ports are grayed out, LAN 2, LAN 3, and LAN 4. So this internet is my wide area network port that connects me to MTN, which is my ISP here, and the LAN 1 connects me to my PC that I'm using to set up this guy. So when I'm done with the setup, I could remove my PC from LAN 1 and I'll use a cable to connect this LAN 1 to a switch, maybe a Cisco switch 2960, so that all the devices I've got on that switch should be able to gain access to the internet. All right, so yeah, so we can also set up these things manually. So if we go to wireless and OFDMA, so we don't need to enable those guys. That is, we don't need them for now. So Smart Connect enabled, wireless radio enabled. This is basically what we'll set up. We can also go ahead and enable guest network. All right, so we'll set up another network for guests so that they will have their own unique password that they use to connect to our Wi-Fi. We can enable guests on both frequency bands, both 2.4 gigahertz as well as 5 gigahertz. All right, so we can also go to advanced settings, and that's where we really where I like the most because it gives me the flexibility to fine tune this router. So under the advanced setup here, you could see we have internet, which is where we already configured it to be on dynamic IP. We can also go to LAN and we'll see the default IP of the router, 192.168.1.1. We'll go to DHCP server here. We're going to notice that DHCP server is already configured. So the IP address pool is that the server should give out IP from 1.100 and it should stop at 1.249. All right, this time is 120 minutes, that's 2 hours, and this should go ahead and give people IP 192.168.1.1 as their default gateway. All right, so as far as this router is concerned, I already have access to the internet. And you also see I've got no DNS here. So my DNS here could be 0.1, which is my ISP router's device. So if we've got here, my default gateway to get to the internet could be the MTN 5G, which is 192. Sorry, my DNS to browse will be my ISP IP. My default gateway to get out will be 192.168.1.1, which is my TP-Link router. Or DNS could be this 192.168.0.1, or it could be the publicly available DNS like 8.8.8.8 or 4.2.2.2. So let's actually confirm what I was given as DNS. So my DNS is my TP-Link. So of course, if I want to get to the internet, I will have to get to the TP-Link, and the TP-Link will have to do a DNS lookup, pointing it to the ISP router, and the ISP router will handle the rest. And that's how actually I'm able to get to the internet. So if you confirm if I have internet access, of course I should. I go to another tab here. Let's go to maybe cisco.com and hit the enter key. And sure enough, cisco.com opens. That means that I've got an internet connection. Because of this topology I have here, my internet ISP router is connected to the wide area network port, this blue port here on the TP-Link modem. my PC is on the LAN. So having set up the wireless, I could also be able to connect to the Wi-Fi. So you can see fiber train Wi-Fi. Click on it. I've got to provide a password, which we set up here. So if we come back here, go to Wi-Fi, which is here, and we can confirm what the password is. So this is the password. So anybody connecting to this network should have, of course, the password to provide in order to connect. So connect, and this way will provide the password. So paste this guy, and I could go to next and go to connect. All right. So that will be it. Before I actually exit out of this interface, I want to go back to advanced and going to take a look at routing here and see what is supported. So static routing appears to be what is supported here. And basically, the only route we have here is the default route. So any network destination, any subnet mask will be forwarded to our default gateway. So our default gateway is 0.1. And what is basically saying is this. Anybody on the LAN going to anywhere on the internet will be forwarded to 0.1, which is our MTN router. That's MTN router here, which is our ISP router, is our default gateway that enables the TP-Link router to know how to reach the internet. So that is the default route setup. It's actually set up by default. Okay, so we don't need to bother ourselves setting up a default route anymore. So that is what we've got on the routing, and we can always add another route, put a destination network, put the subnet mask, and then put a gateway to reach that network. Either we put the gateway or we put the interface, which of course should be the one, and put a description or save, and that's how to add a route here. Okay, so basically there is nothing much we need to do here. So just scroll down on this router, you see wireless, and wireless is going to, of course, take us to where we went to before. So you see wireless settings, where we enable to put the name and put the password that we want to use. By the way, the security we are using by default here is WPA2 PSK. You drop down here, you see other options. This guy supports WPA3 personal, which is far more secure compared to WPA or WPA2. Okay, so I'll just leave it on WPA2 PSK, but I could as well go to WPA3, which is much more secure. We can also set up a guest Wi-Fi, as I mentioned before, and we'll put permission, allow guests to see each other, or we say allow guests to access your local network. So it doesn't really make sense for guests to access your corporate network. So we could just not even allow guests to see each other. So just put a different security for them. We can say no security, but that's not a good idea. Okay. So we can also schedule this device. So if we enable wireless schedule, we have to first of all make sure that the time of this router is up to date, and we can schedule a time where certain devices are allowed to connect to this wireless network. Um, NAT forwarding is also enabled here. So under NAT forwarding, we can do port forwarding to allow certain application to be accessed through this router going to the internet. Parental control, where you can configure certain security. If you're using this TP-Link router as your home router in your home, you could put some controls that will prevent your kids from doing certain things. And profile, you can give it a profile name. You can add a device that this profile should apply to. Okay, so I've got only one device here, but you should see all the devices that connect to this wireless network show up here, and you can add a device. So let me use my own device as an example. So I've added a device. I can also click here to remove the device. So scroll up, go to content filter, and we can block certain content that they shouldn't be able to access. Okay, so that's okay, profile name. So just put anything here and go to next, and we can put a blacklist and whitelist, all those kind of things. And you can put a keyword or URL. So you can put facebook.com, click on add if we don't want our kids to get to facebook.com, right? And click on add, and it's added, and you can see it's on blacklist. All right, so that's basically it. And, yeah, so time controls, we can go to next and specify when is this facebook.com, when should it be blocked. So go to next, and we edit time as okay, maybe Monday through Friday, right? And what time, or it could also be Saturday to Sunday, and we'll have to put time here, maybe from 8 a.m. to 5, or from 9 p.m. to 5. And yeah, so this is very, very simple to set up. That's actually is very good router to use in small environments, small businesses, as well as home or home office. You'll be able to apply some of this configuration. I'm going to cancel out of here, and I really don't want to do any parental control here. All right, so VPN client, VPN server. So this guy is really cool. So he supports some VPN protocols like point-to-point tunneling protocols. Of course, we can set up open VPN, layer 2 tunneling protocol, as well as IPsec. That's crazy. So it really supports a whole lot. It can also serve as a VPN client. Also have security where we can do some firewalling and we can do IP to MAC binding. Wow. So under firewall, we'll just do some basic inspection. So respond to ping from LAN is enabled. As stateful packet inspection is also on. That's good. And the respond to ping from the WAN is disabled. So if person trying to ping us from the outside, the ping is going to be blocked by the firewall. Basic firewall feature here. And we can also see access control here and enable access control. It's still about blacklist and this. So we can add the devices that we want to either block or allow, meaning putting the selecting those devices and putting them in down block or allowed list. Okay, so IP to MAC binding. So if it's enabled, we can specify which IP address, MAC addresses should be allowed to connect. So if I bind this IP, so it means that my IP will always be bound to this MAC address, and somebody cannot spoof my IP on the network because my MAC address will appear to be different from that person's PC MAC address. So that's it. So going to delete this entry. All right, so that is it on this device. So you can quickly set it up. Very straightforward to set up, and there is additional settings also under the wireless settings like API isolation, and not really much that is there. So that's pretty much how to set up the AX1800 Wi-Fi 6 TP-Link router. And yeah, so can go to network map once again and see a map of what we have. So we've got an MTN router, which is our ISP, and it connects to our TP-Link router. And the TP-Link router support both 2.4 as well as 5 gigahertz band, which makes it a dual band device. And I've got one client connected to that system, to that wireless router. And everything is set up, and I have internet connection on this PC, and we're good to go. So thanks very much for joining in this presentation, and see you again in our next tutorial.